Can I call you Sasha?
Please do, Tony.
Excellent, thank you. So Sasha, welcome back to Uzbekistan, I'm presuming. And actually your visit is quite timely, not only because it's ICT week, but also the German Chancellor was just here, signing a multitude of agreements. And I want to first jump into you. We were just speaking before the camera started rolling. You mentioned that you were approached by IT Park Uzbekistan to kind of come in and see what you can do to contribute to the ecosystem here. Can you tell me a little bit about your first impressions when you got that invite?
Sure. Number one, that was absolutely correct. That was our first touch point, was IT Park. So maybe a little intro to myself. I'm Sasha. I'm partner at Plug and Play. I'm running the office also in Stuttgart, which was one of our first international open innovation platforms. And one day we received a visit from IT Park. And believe me, we are getting a lot of these kinds of visitors, kind of seeing what we are doing in this location, which is one of our most active and most successful locations, working with hundreds of startups in the past 8.5 years, connecting them to industry players and for the cause of collaboration. For us, when a startup has a collaboration with a huge organization in industry, it's kind of their customer, right? Yeah. And if they do a test, we call it proof of concept, to test their technology, then they might get into the step of becoming a customer. So this is in Stuttgart the main focus, and we have done about 500 POCs, proof of concepts, between startups and our now 30 partners like Mercedes, Bosch, Porsche, Hyundai, etc., in this location, which is very mobility focused. And IT Park, I believe they saw, hey, what are the most active and successful startup ecosystems in the world, and I'm sure Stuttgart was standing out a little bit, visited us. We didn't 100% know who IT Park was. We were not even 100% sure if we should take that meeting. Like that might not sound nice, but we're getting so many meeting requests. We don't know what was behind it. But you know, we're always open. We like to share. And since it had that word IT and tech in it, we said, okay, let's spend an hour and a half to host IT Park. And it was Mr. Farkot Ibrahimov with his team who came and visited us, and we pitched him the idea behind the program called Startup Autobahn, powered by Plug and Play, and introduced Plug and Play as a worldwide organization with seat in Silicon Valley and our 60 locations. And he was so excited about this. He says, Plug and Play, you have to come to Uzbekistan. We have to find a way to work together and to connect Uzbekistan to the Plug and Play worldwide network. And that was the starting point. So after a few months on defining the roadmap, we started our first program about 2 years ago now. And we had announced our partnership also at ICT Week about 2 years ago. So great to be back here in Uzbekistan. And of course, I did many other stops here in the meanwhile already.
So it's the 2-year anniversary.
It is, kind of, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And can you tell me, I'm pretty sure that Uzbekistan is not unique in the challenges that it presents in entering into the market here. Do you mind giving a bit of insights into the various challenges or opportunities that you see here specifically, in specifically the ecosystem in the startup?
Yes. So like if you look at successful startup ecosystems in the world, then you kind of have to look at different stakeholders in these ecosystems. Number one, universities and education. Like if Silicon Valley, for an example, right? So it has great universities, great minds, great talents, and ideas will form out of it, right?
Yeah.
Then Silicon Valley already has an established ecosystem of startups, and many of them are unicorns and became big companies. And so this mindset of entrepreneurs and growing a small company into a big tech giant who's like one of the top companies in the world is there already present, right? Or if you look at Germany and again Stuttgart, where the car was invented, the TV tower was invented there and stuff. So like you have to have this entrepreneurial mindset, you have to have good education, and an ecosystem also needs money. So you need investors, you need VCs, you need the legal framework which supports that. So Plug and Play is, we can't make magic happen. We are a neutral moderator. We are trying to see what in the ecosystem exists already. And then when we look at Uzbekistan, there is a few investors here. There's a few angel investors, private money here. There is some companies who are having CVCs, their own investment arms in the private companies, and there is also some money available from the government here, right? So, which is great. The government, I think especially the president of Uzbekistan, the prime minister, Minister Shermatov, they're really behind this topic and driving it. And believe me, without that drive, nothing would happen.
Yeah.
So I think this challenge number one is forming the mindset, bringing all parties kind of together, and so helping each individual stakeholder also in this forming of ecosystem. So 2 years ago when we arrived, serious startups, with Plug and Play we were looking at the world's best startups. And like we think there was 2 years ago about 80 plus serious startups in Uzbekistan. Of course, the number of startups is much greater, but at a certain stage with certain high-tech solutions, we believe it was around 80. Maybe 2 years later now, it's became much more. I think maybe 100, 120. So there's growth. If you compare it with India, where we think there's about 80,000 serious startups, it's a totally different number, right? If you look at Silicon Valley with, I don't know the number of startups who have seats in Silicon Valley or grew out of Silicon Valley, but it's a different dimension, of course. So Plug and Play, again, we are trying to help the ecosystem here in Uzbekistan to gain a little bit of this international standard with, depending on the startup, what it needs and what phase it is in and what the individual hurdles are. We're doing close mentoring with the startups. But also, and that's the USP of Plug and Play, we are working together with 550 of the biggest companies in the world. And we're having 60 locations in the world, which can be also landing pads for startups. And not saying that, for every Uzbeki startup, all the locations are relevant, or all our mentors are relevant, and so on. But again, it's fine-tuning it and delivering services to the startups individually, which matches their needs, basically.
Considering it was quite a small number of startups when you compare it to the other locations of Plug and Play, what made you decide that it was a good idea to enter into Uzbekistan?
So, again, like in my personal opinion, and I've come here for like the past 2.5 years now, Uzbekistan is on the rise. Like if you look on Germany, it looks like they're
It's a bit stagnant.
big and fat and kind of losing. The economy is not doing like fantastic at this moment, quite honestly. But Uzbekistan, like the economy is rising, right? So again, the government, I think, is really trying hard to give a chance to the young people here, and we hear this often. I think 60+% of the population is under the age of 30. Then together IT Park and has I think 200 institutes where they're teaching IT. There is more universities being opened. There's also international universities coming to Uzbekistan. So like what I said earlier, with the ecosystem needs education, that's the start of it. It needs the framework and the mindset which inspires them to do something. It's there. So we love to be here from the early stage and be integrated in this ecosystem, and hope we can provide valuable expertise in making this ecosystem grow. And to tell you, we did already a few investments here, even in Uzbekistan, and not little. We can go into depth a little bit later. Secondly, if you look at the plug and play world map where our locations are, then we are very well situated all over Europe, in the US with many offices, in like Japan, Asia Pacific, but in Central Asia we have a little bit of a wide area with no offices. So that was of course also like for plug and play a strategic
we need
spot.
to go there.
Exactly, to take a place also in Central Asia. And Uzbekistan not alone is creating startups, but also the surrounding countries. And we thought it's good to have like one good office where we can also support even the other surrounding ecosystem, entrepreneurial ecosystem, and drive them through our platform here.
Yeah, because there are quite a few startups. Like Kazakhstan is quite well established already.
Yes.
Kyrgyzstan has quite a few very interesting projects, and Tajikistan as well.
Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, exactly. They all have their own initiatives. But for plug and play, at this stage, to be present in all of these other countries is maybe a little bit overkill. But giving the startups a chance to even participate in this project here in Uzbekistan, I think it's in this stage a good solution, maybe. And also to connect to the other ecosystems.
Yes. And I think a lot of the ecosystems are leaning a bit more towards more collaboration right now.
Yes, 100%. So whatever ecosystem we go in, we are always trying to see what is there, how can we help, how can we kind of be a layer on top for the internationalization part. Because again, that's, I think, our expertise.
So you're like a bridge.
We are exactly. We are like a bridge of know-how and expertise and help. Yeah.
And which parts do you see that this ecosystem sorely needs the most assistance?
So again, like with startups, and there is a limited amount of startups here. We can help bringing them to other locations, connecting them to big corporations for POCs. That's one thing we are doing, creating landing pads and mentoring, etc. With the legal framework, that's not our business. We can't change government legal frameworks, right? With investors, we help also other investors because it's important to have also grown-up investors who know what they're doing, and if there's money, if there's a will to invest it from the investors, it's good, but you have to have a little bit education on how you invest, strategic investments, how can you help actually the startup. So we love to help also other investors and other corporations who want to maybe create a new CVC. And I heard there's a rumor going around that also the government wants to do a little bit bigger fund, and so like we love to help with these kinds of topics. And again, with the schools, we love to give inspirational sessions. We love to work together to help entrepreneurs also in universities give a little bit guidance. We do this, for example, in US. We just opened an office with Stevens University in New Jersey on the topic FinTech. And for them, it was super important to build a new ecosystem around the universities, help the entrepreneurs in the universities to grow, tech transfer, you call it, right? And then also give them a chance later on to then connect and grow bigger by working with big corporations, etc.
Because I've spoken with a few of the VCs here and investors, and they all said that they have the money, but they're finding it hard to find the right startups to invest in.
So, like again, when your startup bucket, I would say, is kind of overseeable, then at one point you don't find startups anymore to invest in, right?
Yeah. The same startups keep getting the same money from everyone.
So we are trying also to attract also startups who are already successful to maybe take seat here in Uzbekistan, because IT Park has this kind of residence program, and they can be registered here. They can have different kinds of advantages and also tax advantages, I heard. So, and then that also would give, I think, local investors a chance to invest also in other companies besides Uzbeki startups.
Yeah.
But for sure, Uzbeki startups should be promoted and helped the most from Uzbekistan. But again, in order to have a vibrant and healthy startup ecosystem, you also need some international influx. So that's also one thing which we are trying to do, to attract also international startups to our platform here in Uzbekistan.
Yeah, there's quite a few from Russia that are here that just set up about 2 years ago.
Yes.
Coincidence, I think not.
So Russian founders is great if they're registered here and have no more links to Russia. That's, I think, a point for a lot of European and American, because of politics that you can't work with them otherwise. But if it's not against the people, it's for the founders. If the founders are Russian, that's fine. So
it will be good.
Yeah. But from all over the place, so we don't differentiate there.
Yeah. And I have a question about unicorns.
Yes.
This year it was announced that Uzum was the first unicorn for Uzbekistan.
Wonderful, yes.
That finally they got their first.
Yeah.
Do you think that there's anyone who can be the second unicorn?
That's there. I think I don't want to differentiate. Of course, there's our, we invest also in a few companies.
Yeah.
But it would be not nice for me to say what I think, what's up. But definitely there is a very good potential that there will be soon more unicorns also here in Uzbekistan. Like I don't want to name any names.
Okay, fair enough. But the fact that there is potential.
For sure, for sure. And again, like we also invest in startups kind of in an earlier stage. So it might take a few years until they become unicorns. Plug and Play is an early stage investor, but there is companies, like startups, who are on the good way of becoming unicorns here in Uzbekistan. So we're looking forward to that, and looking forward also to support them with introductions.
And I've noticed that in Uzbekistan, the types of startups that are coming here are very FinTech focused or EduTech focused.
So again, because I've been talking to many people, I believe there's a presidential decree for banks to work more with FinTechs and startups. And and a lot of banks are being privatized at this moment, right? There's, I think, about 14 state banks right now. So I think this is a great opportunity for fintechs who are from Uzbekistan, surrounding areas, or also from far away internationally, to come here, because there's so much opportunity in the country to do business, right? So we like to focus on fintech. Actually, it's our plan for 2025 in spring, the new program. It's a fintech program to help the local ones and attract international fintechs to come here, and also work together with the banking sector. I tell you that a lot of banks, and including other corporations, not only banks, for them it's quite new to work with startup technologies. Again, coming to fintech and the banks, which I think it's a very potential industry focus for the next program, which is beginning of next year in 2025. Banks need a certain kind of awareness why to work with startup, how to work with startup. So like what we're doing already now, we are contacting banks, especially the 14 state banks there, to create a little program for them with different, we call it innovation days, for awareness building, a little bit education on how to work with, then inviting them also to Europe, where we have fintech is quite a big topic there. And we work with BNP Paribas, one of Europe's biggest banks. We work with UniCredit and others. And then come together and learn about, do an innovation day and learn from each other also a little bit, and create a better understanding why it's so important to integrate startups in your business activities. And then again, in the next year, we want to actually do the working together between the banks and the startups. That's the current plan we have. But despite fintech, I think there also is other topics. Personally, retail tech, I think, because everybody loves to shop. And then the
online
customer
shopping.
experience, online shopping, customer experience, there's so many technologies available from startups on how you can increase sales, traffic on your website, how you can promote more individualized products, etc. I mean, it's a big spectrum of things. Then I think enterprise topics, because a lot of the big companies in Uzbekistan have more inherited processes, that's it, yeah. And like with AI, the world is going to be changing. And if you want to continue to compete in Uzbekistan, while there's a lot of internationalists right now, international companies coming into Uzbekistan, you need to open up a little bit. You need to improve your processes, optimize them, do more prediction, learn how to use the data you have, etc. So enterprise AI, I think, is also very relevant for Uzbekistan. And then I like that topic, smart city. It's kind of like, what is smart city? It's kind of everything. But like we include in it also the energy sector, we include in it the building sector, and there's so much construction going on right now. So this green energy topic, green building topic, and also the traffic topic, which is every time I come to Uzbekistan, there's more traffic for the past 2.5 years. I think it's becoming big, and I think that's also a good program topic upcoming. Yep. So again, looking forward, Plug and Play hopes to make an impact here for startups, for the corporations. Hopefully also, like with that, also purpose to help also the government objective of bringing Uzbekistan more and more into the spotlight. And you're right, our chancellor was just here from Germany, so it's becoming more into the spotlight. And looking forward to what's to come here.
Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to join us, Sasha.
Thanks so much, Tony.
And
Pleasure.
I look forward to seeing what all Plug and Play is going to be achieving here.